So before Fontaine comes out, I wanted to take a crack at predicting the complete map of Teyvat. Now of course the specifics aren't possible to get right. Whatever parts MiHoYo plans to include and where they'll draw the outer bounds is pretty, I would say, anonymous at this point. I think the desert tells us as much, with the half of the cliff sides accessible while the other halves are out of bounds. Parts of the beaches that separate the desert from the sea are defined while parts can't be properly seen. So with that said, this is my current idea for the full map. You can see it on the screen. Forgive me for the crudeness of it. I'm not very good at making topological maps. It's just to give us a rough idea. Well, let me explain this map to you. So you might ask, why is Fontaine blue? Well, the blue isn't meant to represent water though. There will likely be plenty of water in the region. Apparently diving might become a new mechanic. Anyways, the blue is actually a stylistic representation of the toxic air we're told Fontaine has. I decided to color it blue because I'd be thematic that the toxins are some overloading of elemental energy, and in this case it'll be hydro. Maybe it'll also lead to some kind of health draining environmental hazard mechanic like the dark mud. Well, anyways, as a result, many areas will be inaccessible without some kind of new item. To travel through these areas early into the exploration, we might be traveling through artificial tunnels like an underwater aquarium. Okay, so you may ask, what is the black circle in the middle? Actually, that might be a city, or you can say underwater city, or the main branch, or you can also say the capital of Fontaine. And similarly, that is why Natlan is red, because it's going to have plenty of hot areas, maybe with environmental hazards. And then Natlan city will be located on the largest volcano, depicted here by that big bright color of red coming off the Sumeru mountain range. Now you may have noticed the word Celestia on the Natlan, or you can say Fontaine border. This is currently the location of Celestia. You can triangulate it accurately by going to the furthest west areas of Mondstadt, Liyue and Sumeru. Personally, I feel like this is a subject to change. I don't think Celestia would ever float straight above any of the nations, but that being said, it could explain why Foclaris knows not to make an enemy of the divine, and why the Pyro Archon has her reasons for sharing the secret about war. So who knows? I'm still not sold on it, but for now, this is where Celestia is. With Snezhnaya, while it'll share a border with Fontaine, I think we'll actually have to access it through Mondstadt. In my mind, the story will start with Venti's second character quest, which you guys might have noticed is the only Archon who doesn't have his second one yet. Each of the other three released at the end of the Archon quests, with a rerun banner coming 4 patches later to give us a new weekly boss through these second character quests. On the top of that, each Archon quest's weekly boss is a Fatui Harbinger, while the second boss is someone personally related to the Archon. Well, I think Venti's will be the last before Snezhnaya, and since his Archon quest boss was the one that personally related to him, yes, I'm talking about Devalan. So this left his only Fatui Harbinger boss. That could be Pervio, which will then pave the ways into Snezhnaya. And then, as you can see from the map, I have listed Snezhnaya's capital of Zapol Yarani Palace and placed it almost at the center of the nation, very deep into it. If we access it from Mondstadt, it will be a long journey to reach it. My reason for doing that is that I think, unlike all the regions we have had so far and will have until Snezhnaya, it's the Archon quest will take place after all the exploration is done. So it will be something like version 6.5 that we even start the Archon quest. That way events could be set up to build up the final confrontation against the Sevetsa and any surviving members of the Harbingers. And by the end of the region's run, we'll not only defeat them but also immediately start the Khanvian act of the game. On the top of that, Khanvia can be the only region where the weekly boss is released in reverse order. The earliest around version 6.1 will be some collection of the remaining Harbingers. Then 4 patches later at 6.5 we'll start the Archon quest and get some monstrous creatures related to the Sevetsa, maybe a dragon that defends the capital or something. Finally, we will complete the Archon quest. The weekly boss will be the Sevetsa herself. And finally, Khanvia. I mean, I can almost guarantee there will be Celestia's act after that, but for now it's Khanvia. With this new map, there was another idea I wanted to convey that I am not sure if I got across. In China, there's a concept of the 4 guardians. They correspond to the 5 elements in Taoism, with the 5th being the earth element represented by the golden dragon. Of course, that's easily Geo, the Exuvia, and therefore Morax. The guardians are responsible for protecting the land from the malevolent supernatural forces, like for example those from the underworld. And we know Khanvia is an underground nation with access point to the surface in pretty much every nation. Musk Reef is present in Liyue. The chasm is actually foreign. The abyss crashed an iron meteoroid into the chasm where its forces existed to attack during the cataclysm. Maybe the 7 nations themselves are located directly above the subterranean nation because they are a line of defense Celestia set up against it, more specifically the Void, and the Cataclysm was actually more of a worst case scenario to the Savant's usual function. There's more lore to that, which I'll talk about some other time. I'm not going to summarize this time. I'm not really sure where I start. So if you want me to explain all the lore of Teyvat, comment down below and also tell me what changes I should add to the map. Give me your opinions below and I will see you in the next one.